Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online series 10 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used this really fun Calyrex Shadow Rider team featuring other Pokemon like Ditto, so we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today, as we're actually going to go up against an opposing Calyrex Shadow Rider team for the first game, so this should definitely be an exciting one. First of all, I want to quickly address that yesterday I misspoke when talking about Ditto in the kind of team overview, which I don't know like what I was thinking. I just had a big brain fart, but it's talking about how Ditto's defensive and has these EVs, but the EVs literally do not matter. So yeah, I got a bunch of comments on that. You guys were all right on it. And also yesterday, I think in game 2, my Ditto copied an Incineroar moveset, and I spent forever trying to guess what my opponent's Incineroar had, and so definitely made a bunch of mistakes there, but yeah, just wanted to quickly address those. But let's get into the first game today. We have a bunch of similar Pokemon. I really don't want to deal with Calyrex speed ties, so I think Entei might be really big here. And we don't have a dark type attack. Lele does have that Shadow Ball actually, so that is actually going to be really good for us, I think. Okay, I'm leaning towards Whimsicott, Lele, Calyrex, and Ditto. I guess the main thing is, is it even worth bringing Ditto? Yeah, we get to copy Calyrex. It gives us 2 chances to potentially win a speed tie against it, so I'm still going to go with the Ditto here. So, yep, let's just get into the first game of the day and see how things shake up. Thanks so much, as always, for watching Road to Ranked. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. And, yeah, I think overall, the Ditto was definitely super impressive in yesterday's episode, and I had a lot of fun trying it out. And yeah, we were able to just get a bunch of fun games on the board, and so I'm glad we get to kind of play a more mirror match here, just because yeah, it's not something that I have too much experience with. Also, I just realized I think my green screen over here is not fully covered, so I'm gonna move it after the match is over. So sorry for the little bit of white space there. Okay, yeah, so the idea behind the Tapu Lele here is I have the Psychic Seed, and I have Shadow Ball. So I'm hoping the combination of that can help deal with Calyrex. I'm not going to Tailwind this first turn around because I mean, surely they Tailwind, right? So the thing is, even if I can stagger my Tailwind by 1 turn, that's pretty handy. So yeah, I'm actually just going to launch Moonblast into Calyrex and Shadow Ball here immediately. I guess if you're my opponent, you could go for Helping Hand Astro Barrage. So, that would have been a reason to Tailwind if I were expecting that. Oh, they actually switch out. Okay. I wonder if they know about this team, then. They're going to switch into Incineroar. Even if they don't know about the team, I mean, it makes sense, right? You don't want to risk any potential big damage into Calyrex. And Whimsicott just protects. Okay, it's a fine turn 1 here, honestly. We don't lose that much. And the thing is, now I can just double up onto Whimsicott this subsequent turn. And, yeah. We're going to get some decent damage on the board here. My opponent's Incineroar can't really do anything. I mean, it can't do anything, but can't fake out this next turn, which is pretty good for us. Now, you would think they'd want a Tailwind right now, but like I said, we can stagger our Tailwind by a turn. I almost want to just double up onto Incineroar with a double Moonblast right now and just get that out of the way. Because actually, Incineroar is one of the biggest issues to go up against, considering we have Calyrex Shadow Rider in the back, so I'm happy to chunk it for damage here. Whimsicott maybe feels pressure to Tailwind, but then the thing is, you can't taunt me because Psychic Terrain is up, so then I can, yeah, exactly, I can just Tailwind the subsequent turn, giving us an extra turn of Tailwind to work with, which can be really critical. The other decision here is I could have maybe just tried to knock out, we'll see if Incineroar is buried here. Okay, so they are going to outspeed us because they get Tailwind up. Yeah, I guess I should have thought about that a little bit more, but I'm still fine with this outcome. Incineroar's already taken 60%, and that's really critical when you consider what we have in the back. So, let's see what comes out right now. I feel like it'd be a little bit scary to bring in the Calyrex right now, especially considering I've revealed Shadow Ball, but maybe they're just willing to go for it. And it's going to be Mienshao. Okay, perfect. You can see how my opponent's a little bit afraid to switch in that Calyrex, and rightfully so because of the Shadow Ball. So Tapu Lele is putting in a ton of work for us right now, and we actually just get the 1-hit KO there, despite the special attack drop, so that's beautiful. So, we're in the same position as the game started, more or less, right? You're going to bring out the Calyrex, and once again, I can just, I guess the only downside is now I have a -1 special attack on the Tapu Lele. And the other question is the Whimsicott moveset. Do you have Helping Hand? We've seen Protect, Tailwind, Moonblast. There are a lot of options for the 4th. Encore, Taunt, Helping Hand, all are viable options. see, we've got Ditto. Worst comes to worst, we just match their Tailwind and we have 2 attempts to KO their Calyrex with Astral Barrage. I mean, is it really worth protecting here? It does stall out another turn of their Tailwind, I suppose. Okay, yeah, I'm down to protect this turn. I don't see much upside to going for Shadow Ball immediately. They do have Helping Hand. Okay, good to confirm that. So we know the Calyrex full moveset at this point. Or sorry, the Whimsicott's full moveset. Gonna set up a Tailwind here. The Tailwind this turn was actually kind of a waste, but the reason I went for it was because I think we have to respect Astral Barrage plus Moonblast from Calyrex and Whimsicott into our Whimsicott. I wanted to cover for that. Okay. Brings us down to our Focus Sash. And their Life Orb. No surprise there. Okay. 3 turns of Tailwind on our end. They've got 2 left. The thing is, if I don't knock out Whimsicott this turn, they can just protect and then get another Tailwind up. Ah, which is so dicey. I don't see how I can really avoid the speed ties. Which is really unfortunate. Is it even worth protecting here? No, it is. Because then I'd get a free switch in. Yeah, okay. So, protect Whimsicott. I don't want to lose both Pokemon here. Yeah, so I'll protect in Shadow Ball. We'll let the Calyrex KO my Tapu Lele. I assume that KOs. I'd be really surprised if we hung on. But it feels like what this boils down to is 2 potential speed tie opportunities. Yeah. So we're just gonna go for Astral Barrage. I mean, if we could survive this, that'd be absolutely huge. But with Helping Hand, I don't think there's really any shot. Let's see though. Yeah, gets the clean knockout onto Lele. But there's not much point in really like switching Lele out in that position, right? So basically, like I said, we have 2 shots at winning a speed tie against this Calyrex. The first one with our Ditto, the second one with our Calyrex. And I want to bring Ditto here first, just because it guarantees that I get to copy Calyrex, whereas if I brought in Calyrex here and then I lost the Whimsicott, then I'm forced to transform into the opposing Whimsicott. So this just gives me 2 opportunities to win a speed tie. Okay. Unless they're Choice Scarfed. I guess we'll be able to see that. No, they have Encore, though. That's really interesting. I still have 2 turns of Tailwind left. I guess the problem is you just protect Whimsicott here, and then Tailwind the next turn. Protect Whimsicott and Astral Barrage is your play right now. I might as well go for a double protect. I really don't need to go for anything else right now, because it really does boil down to whoever wins the speed ties between the Calyrexes. Yeah, they go for protect. It's fine. We don't get the protect off. Okay. Oh, that's actually pretty interesting then. I mean, I'm fine with that, right? Tailwind peters out. Now you're just going to Tailwind Astral Barrage. It's still the same position, but I do have the opportunity. Oh, hold on. They didn't respect Encore. They didn't respect Encore. And we are guaranteed fast right now. So the main question is who I want to Encore. I think the correct answer is Whimsicott, because then it forces them to protect, and with Tailwind, we outspeed the Calyrex. Nice. Okay. Actually, the correct choice here is Calyrex, because there's a very small chance Whimsicott's Mentor Orb. It's so unlikely. But just because of the Mentor Orb threat. Oh, and they actually switch out. Okay. But it's fine, right? Because now you don't get Tailwind up. And I think the Ditto should really just clean the game at this point. Okay, this is actually good then, because had I launched the Encore into the Calyrex slot, I would have lost the game. Or not lost the game, but then they're still in it from a potential speed tie win. But now I think we should just win the game. Especially... Oh, they do get the double off, though. Okay. But that's fine. Because the main thing here is now they can't get Tailwind up. And also, like, your Whimsicott, you either stay in and just feint, or you switch out into Calyrex, and I just pick up the knockout. Perfect. Instant not fainting there I think is actually pretty good for us. Tailwind peters out, that's fine. We're always just going to click Protect here and click Astral Barrage. And what that allows me to do is then Tailwind the subsequent turn. We just want to protect here. We don't want to get hit by a Fake Out. Calyrex is obviously Ghost type, so Fake Out won't affect it here. So, okay. Ditto has been so good. I've had a lot of fun using this Pokemon so far, so it's just been a blast. Okay, Whimsicott attempts to protect again. I mean, you really can't afford to switch out there. Yeah, I think this is the only play they can make. So we'll get the knockout onto Incineroar, and more importantly, put ourselves in a position where we'll have Tailwind, and they won't have Tailwind. Yep, so Whimsicott is Focus Sashed here. And they're Encored for one more turn. So yeah, the double Protect play ended up making it so that we didn't even need to rely on a potential Speed tie win, which I'm very grateful for. I really didn't want to deal with potential Speed ties in this one. But I figured, like, that's why it was worth bringing Ditto. It's like, could have brought Entei over it, but AV Entei, like, it doesn't have a Dark type attack, so it's not like I'm KOing the Calyrex anyway. Calyrex just outspeeds us and does so much damage to us anyway. So I'd rather just have, like, a 50-50% chance with the Ditto and then have another 50-50 with the Calyrex. So just double checking the field state. They are still Encored for one more turn, and the beautiful thing here is I can just click Tailwind. Even if you protect with your Calyrex, I can just Encore you again. I guess the only downside is we only have 5 PP here to work with. Okay, so Whimsicott's going to opt for a Protect here, as it has to. Calyrex is going to Protect. But it doesn't matter, because even if we run out of PP on this Calyrex, we still have the our Calyrex in the back. And this one I can just Encore their Calyrex into Protect as well. So Encore was such a game changer for us in this set. The main thing is we just had a really big advantage from the start of the game. And honestly, had my opponent just clicked Helping Hand of Astral Barrage turn 1, they probably would have won the game. But of course, that's a pretty risky play to make. Like, I did play a little bit risky by not Tailwinding turn 1, because I figured they would, actually, yeah, I don't know, like, Helping Hand Astral Barrage does make a lot of sense, but, like, you would just insta-lose to a Tailwind Shadow Ball there, so it makes sense that my opponent didn't want to take, you know, a huge gamble on turn 1. Either way, at this point, we can just Encore into the Calyrex and Astral Barrage again. The main thing here is that we have the speed advantage, right? So it will be funny if the Calyrex here, or if they do get the double Protect off. Okay, Whimsicott is going to get the Tailwind off, but that's fine. And we're just actually going to win the speed tie anyway. Nice. And that'll be a double KO. Perfect. I'm just thinking, because we had Tailwind up anyway, right? So it might have been better to just click Encore on a Whimsicott. I don't think there was really any way out for my opponent, though. Just because, yeah, if we Encore trap the Calyrex, we know your item. You have no way around it. My opponent's only chance would have been to... they didn't go for Protect. What they needed to do... Oh, yeah, I actually very easily could have lost that then. Hold on. They actually needed to just attempt to double Protect there and Tailwind. So my play there was bad, right? Because... I already had Tailwind up at that point in the game. Yeah. I always should have Encored Whimsicott. That was actually a really bad play on my end, and we could have very easily tossed the match, actually. So I didn't think that fully through. Mainly because I was just like, oh yeah, we have this locked up anyway, but it was actually very easy for us to lose if they get a double Protect and then win 2 speed ties. The odds of that aren't, like, incredibly low, right? Double Protect is 1 in 3, and then to win 2 speed ties in a row, right? 1/2, so it's 1 in 4. So 1/12 of the time, if they go for that double Protect play in the end there, they can actually win. Like, why am I giving my opponent an slightly over 8% chance to win, right? When I could have just had a 100% chance to win by Encoring Whimsicott. So that was kind of a silly mistake on my end, because I already had them pinned fully. So even though we won, that was a pretty sloppy endgame on my end. And this is a great example of a game, as I always talk about, where, like, yeah, I won, but there was clearly a couple things that I could have improved on. And it was mainly just that turn. I needed to fully think that turn through. And sometimes, like, you might feel like you have the game locked up. I absolutely did in that one. But that one turn was actually really critical. So, yeah. At that point, yeah, because they didn't opt to go for a Protect there in the first place. Wait, actually, no. Even if they get the double Protect off and you Tailwind, well, I just Encore you anyway. Never mind. We're good. I overthought that a little bit, I think. Because you're not KOing my Whimsicott. Never mind. We were fine. I think we could have played it either way. So, yeah, we take those. Not a bad game to get things started. And in the end, Ditto was really, really good for us. So let's look for our next one. Getting into our next game here, and our opponent has a really cool Yveltal team. Alright, we're in for an interesting one because we haven't gone up against Yveltal yet, and that obviously is one of the best Pokemon to have against Calyrex Shadow Rider specifically. So we're gonna have to work hard for this one. What in the world do I bring here? Lele a Psychic Seed. Stakataka is really scary. They have really good speed control as well. Ditto's definitely coming out here. I'm just trying to figure out a good game plan. I don't really see an amazing one off the top of my head. The other downside is if I lead Whimsicott Lele, I can't Encore. I already can't Encore Yveltal because it's Dark type. But... okay, I feel like Entei overall is really good into my opponent's team, so I like that. So I'm thinking Entei, Lele, Calyrex, and Ditto. Do I really not bring Urshifu here? My opponent's team is just like well constructed in the sense that like it's very tempting to bring Urshifu against Stakataka, Landorus, and Volcarona, but then they have the they have three things that really threaten Urshifu in the Gieleki, the Yveltal, for example, and the Rillaboom. So I don't feel super confident in Urshifu here. Stakataka and Rillaboom? Okay. I mean, what I can do here turn one is Sacred Fire into Entei. It just sucks because I have to give up the Psychic Seed boosts, but I guess that doesn't really matter too much here. Now, I do have Stomping Tantrum on this as well. But if I can eliminate Rillaboom immediately, and then switch the Lele into Stakataka, we have the numbers advantage, and I could potentially even reverse their Trick Room. I just don't think like a Stomping Tantrum, okay? How was I going to be Rillaboom Stakataka like ever? I don't have a good answer against it, honestly. But yeah, I think my best bet here is the Sacred Fire and switch this out into Ditto. Okay, and we'll go from there. Rillaboom might switch out here. The boost isn't that important in this matchup. I mean, Yveltal can be a special attacker. It is often primarily a special attacker, but it is what it is. Okay, so we'll get Imposter. We'll transform into the opposing Stakataka. They're just going to go for Grassy Glide. Yep. I could have protected there, maybe. We'll get Sacred Fire off. Is not enough for a KO. Does it get a burn? No burn. Oh, and they actually just Rock Slide. Okay, so no Trick Room. Entei hangs on. Alright, not the worst turn then. The main thing that I think is actually really valuable here is scouting out for the Stakataka's moveset. I don't think E-Speed KOs the Rillaboom from this range, unfortunately. Okay. Oh, there is Body Press. Like, what I really want to do here is double up on a Stakataka, because this is such a big threat to us. I really don't want Trick Room in this game. But once again, I mean, the thing about Ditto like, can be really awkward is like, both last game and this game is when you obviously speed tie with your opponent, and you can both potentially knock each other out. However, I don't think this... well, if you Grassy Glide us, that would activate Citrus Berry, and then the question is whether or not Body Press would KO us. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, they're going to Glide again, but Citrus is really nice for us here. Honestly, if we win the speed tie between the Stakatakas, we're in amazing shape. Okay, Entei will get the Stomping Tantrum off. Oh, not even a 2-hit KO, well. And our Stakataka attacks first, or our Ditto attacks first. That's such a big deal. Nice. Now, there is a small chance they were going for Trick Room there, but I think it's relatively unlikely. I think if I were in my opponent's shoes, I would just probably click Body Press again. But that's a huge turn for us. So I can't say for sure that we won the speed tie there because maybe they're contemplating Trick Room, but regardless, that puts us in a phenomenal position. I think the main thing about both this game and last game that I keep asking myself is, like, can I have played better to have prevented the speed ties? But Stakataka is a really tough matchup for us, to be honest. Okay, so they bring in Yveltal. Got Stone Edge. Lele's in the back. Obviously, that's good. Ditto has a defense boost right now. I can't protect. I would think my opponent's just going to Glide again. Like, I almost want to switch Entei out here into Tapu Lele to prevent Grassy Glide. Well, Glide would still go off, wouldn't it? Okay, maybe I'm willing to just go for Sacred Fire here into... actually, I really want to target Yveltal. I'm going to Stone Edge Yveltal. And Rock Slide. I really want to know what Yveltal's set this is. Oh, they switch out. Okay. That is going to be Volcarona. Okay. That's obviously great for Entei right now to see. Huge Stone Edge there. Does 50%. They're not weakness policy, and they just Dark Pulse into Entei, meaning I just get a Rock Slide off here. Wow. I guess they read really hard into a switch there. This Ditto is so good for us. It just picks up a double KO. No way. I'm really, really surprised they left Ditto on check like that. Because I don't have that much incentive to switch out in that position. Wow, Ditto's just so good with this team. I'm just I love using this team because I've never really fully utilized Ditto. Like, maybe a little bit in 2016, but, like, I am really impressed by this Pokemon on this team. It has performed way above my expectations. Like, we've brought it to every game, and it's not even me being like, oh, yeah, like, I want to bring it because it's just Ditto. It's just because it is often the best fourth option. Because it gives you any of your opponent's Pokemon, right? And, like, I think the cool thing about Ditto is you get so much flexibility with it. And so, like, I think it can be a pretty tough Pokemon to execute, but has a very, very high, like, skill cap. That's what it feels like to me. I'm actually impressed by this thing. I mean, seriously. But, yeah, if they were going for Body Press, presumably on Stakataka, then this would have obviously played out very, very differently. I think then what would have probably happened is I would have brought out the Calyrex Shadow Rider. Had they won the Speed Time, Body Press actually KO'd us, I would have brought Calyrex Shadow Rider and then switched the Entei out into Tapu Lele and go for Astral Barrage. If we get terrain control, then you can't, you know, Sucker Punch with Yveltal, which is also a big deal, and I have Substitute as well. So the game definitely, like, I would have had to work a lot harder for the win if they were going for Body Press that turn and they won the Speed Tie. But very fortunately for us, we've won, feels like every critical Speed Tie with this Ditto thus far. So the main thing is basically, can I put myself in positions where I don't need to rely on winning a Speed Tie? Stakataka plus Rillaboom is a really difficult lead to cover for. My best bet was probably leading Calyrex plus... maybe Calyrex plus Urshifu. I guess the question is whether or not Mystic Water Urshifu is enough to KO. The other thing with Calyrex Urshifu that's interesting is that we could go for Helping Hand plus Astral Barrage turn 1. I also don't know if that KOs Stakataka though, so I gotta lab that out a little bit more. I'm not sure what our best lead into Rillaboom plus Stakataka was to, like, enough where we can gain an early lead and not rely on Ditto winning a Speed Tie in that position, but I'm not sure right now. So either way, it's been a really fun win streak with this team, so let's just keep it up and yeah, look for another one. Third game of the day, and okay, it's just Tornogre stuff here. I played a practice, was it a practice game with this team? And with it, like, Encore with Whimsicott was really critical. I feel like I played against this exact team composition. Maybe it was even the same player, honestly, but don't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, the main thing I'm leaning towards is a Whimsicott plus Lele lead because we have Psychic Seed, so that's really helpful into the Kyogre and the Regieleki. Calyrex Shadow Rider in the back, and then Ditto is the fourth. Entei is, like, pretty subpar here. It's funny because if my opponent's restricted Pokemon is in Kyogre, Entei obviously looks incredible, but Kyogre alone just makes Entei's life so much more difficult because with that team, Kyogre is obviously coming out in every single game. And Urshifu is, like, a little bit interesting, especially as a lead option, but I don't know, it just gets dunked on by Hurricane from Tornadus, any electric type attack from Regieleki, so I'd rather not here. But let's see. Ditto has put in some really good performances in both games today and also throughout all of yesterday, but I'm not sure how great it will be for us in this game specifically because it's not like copying Kyogre is that great for us. They're going to lead Incineroar plus Tsareena though, which honestly I'm pretty happy with, right? Like, I get Psychic Terrains, you can't fake out, and I can just go for damage to start off the game, so yeah, I'm down for this. I guess the only downside is I don't know if I can knock out either Pokemon. Now, I do have Psyshock on the Lele, which obviously helps out given the potential AV. But the problem is really Incineroar, right? Incineroar is the thing that resists our Calyrex-S attacks. So to be honest, I might be content just launching... I do have to respect, like, Flare Blitz or Triple Axle into Whimsicott. So I think I'm actually down to protect Whimsicott turn 1. This doesn't feel amazing, but I think I'm going to protect into Moonblast Incineroar. It's likely they're going to Parting Shot, but I want to chip away at Incineroar because that's the main threat to my Calyrex, not the Tsareena. And I want to protect here to cover for Flare Blitz and Triple Axle potentially into that slot. Yep, there's Triple Axle. And Parting Shot, that's fine. Yeah, I just didn't want to Tailwind this turn, but I guess what makes this awkward is I don't really have a safe switch into Triple Axle right now. The other play I was considering was just Moonblast Psyshock into Tsareena. That honestly might have been worth it. Tornadus comes out. So this basically confirms my opponent's 4 Pokemon, right? They're going to have Kyogre in the back. Can Tailwind here. So we can trade Tailwinds. I could also switch Whimsicott out here. If I go into Ditto, though, okay, I think I'd rather just copy their Kyogre. Okay. I'm down to trade Tailwinds here in Psyshock, and if Triple Axle doesn't connect all 3 times, right, it's 3 different... Oh, that's really interesting. They protect. Okay, even better. But the thing about Triple Axle, it's three individual accuracy checks, right? And so for you to hit all 3 is a little bit over 70%. So if they miss a single one, that's actually really good for us. Okay, damage from Psyshock. Okay, they connect on the first, connect on the second, and they go for 3 for 3. That's fine, though, because I can bring in the Calyrex Shadow Rider now. You would think with Tornadus, you would want a Tailwind right now, so they have staggered their Tailwind by 1 turn, but we have Protect on both Lele and Calyrex, so 1 extra turn doesn't make that much of a difference. So the main thing here is obviously we can go for Expanding Force, but I do want to cover for the potential switch into the Incineroar. So I'm content to just Astral Barrage here and go for a Moonblast onto the Tsareena slot, which I think is maybe likely to switch into Incineroar. Oh, it's actually Tornadus switching out. I really like that play, and I'll tell you why. This is how you're staggering Tailwind. That's really smart. Because now they'll have 2 turns of Tailwind to work with. Now what's really interesting is that we can use our Ditto to potentially copy their Tornadus in the late game and just get our Tailwind up anyway. There's a chance Tsareena hangs on from this. Okay, I think we're good. Also, Calyrex ignoring abilities right now is super sweet for us. Sorry, not ignoring abilities, berries. Okay, not bad. I would think you'd bring out Tornadus here. But yeah, what's really interesting is I can maybe just copy your Tornadus and then get our own Tailwind up. The fear is if Tornadus has Taunt and Tailwind. They already revealed Protect. You're almost always going to have Hurricane. Hurricane, Tailwind, Protect, and then the 4th move can be Icy Wind, Taunt. Or a 4th. How many turns of Tailwind do we have left? 2? 2, yeah. I'm just trying to time this appropriately. Tornadus surely protects here, right? And then Tailwinds on the last turn. Okay, so I'm actually going to switch Calyrex out here into Ditto to copy the Tornadus. And Moonblast into Incineroar. I don't think Moonblast will KO here with the drop, and there's also a chance we're activating a berry by switching out here, but I have the speed advantage right now, and Calyrex will win the late game for us if we outspeed them. Also, wait, low-key, I think the better play might have been sub and then switch Lele out. Because then I can just fake out Tornadus the subsequent turn. Actually, I really do think that's the better play there. Okay, Instin's not buried, and they just go for Snarl. I'm fine with that. The main question I have right now is, we're about to see the Tornadus moveset. They don't have Taunt. It's not too much of an issue, though. Because I have Icy Wind, meaning I can guarantee outspeed this thing. And that means they can't deny me from setting up another Tailwind later on. The thing here is I want to switch Lele out into Calyrex. I could Hurricane. I don't love this play. I went Icy Wind Moonblast. I don't think that makes too much sense. Yeah, especially because their Incineroar is just going to outspeed us right now. That was not a good play on my end. Oh, actually, probably not with the immediate speed drop because they're still slower than the Incineroar. That's pretty good damage on a Tornadus, actually. The main thing is now I can't switch Lele out. Like, what I wanted to do was switch Lele out, but if I miss Hurricane on Incineroar, that's really bad for us. Because then their Incineroar gets a Dark-type attack into us. This is going to be a really close endgame, but I actually kind of favor my opponent's position a little bit more. I guess the upside is we do have this special defense boost on Lele, but I don't get to reset the terrain. The upside is that I can stagger Tailwind, right? So I'll have Tailwind up as well, and we have the faster Pokemon in the Calyrex. We've also lowered Tornadus' speed, which is really critical, meaning that the Lele will outspeed under Tailwind. Yeah, so that's why I wanted Icy Wind last turn. So I'm going to just Tailwind here and protect. Oh, you know what the issue is? If this is Choice Scarf Kyogre, I just lost the game, basically. There's a very good chance it's Choice Scarf. If it is Scarf, they play this game brilliantly. We're about to find out, though. Basically, it's whether or not it outspeeds the... Oh, no, it's going to outspeed Tornadus anyway, because we dropped Tornadus' speed. So the thing is, if it is Scarf I'm worried about, what I can do is bring out Calyrex, protect Calyrex, and then Psyshock into Kyogre to weaken it. There's the Icy Wind. I do think that's the play to make here. How many turns of Tailwind do they have as well? If this is Scarf Kyogre, they played it brilliantly. I really felt like we had a decent matchup, and not really too happy about my execution. But like I said, I'm just going to protect here and then go for... I mean, Psyshock... I actually like Moonblast more here just because of the special attack drop. If we get a special attack drop, that's absolutely huge. Tornadus protects, that's fine. Best case is it is Scarf Ogre, we survive Water Spell, and then get a special attack drop onto Kyogre. Oh, we're just faster. Okay, so you're bulky. You're not Scarf Kyogre. That's a huge piece of information. And we get the special attack drop. I feel like the RNG has gone completely in our favor these last couple of days, but they actually ended up going for Scald anyway, so yeah, it doesn't even make a difference there. That puts us in a phenomenal position, because now I can just click Astro Barrage and Moonblast again. I guess if you're my opponent, you have to go for the double protect with Tornadus, right? Oh, they actually just forfeit. I think it was still winnable for them. Their win con was to double protect with Tornadus, get the double protect off, and then Scald crit into Calyrex. But you can see why they went for Scald there. They were basically expecting me to go for Astral Barrage Moonblast that turn, you know, let the Kyogre survive, and then Kyogre maybe KOs Calyrex with Scald. So that's why I wanted to protect there, because with that special defense boost that we had on Lele, I figured we'd at least survive the turn regardless of what they went for. And with the play that they made, I think even without the special attack drop, we basically had the game, barring anything, like barring a double protector, things going, and a critical hit. But in the end, things worked out pretty well. So yeah, this is a really fast-paced team. We've had a lot of fun games with it, and I'm going to play one last one. Final game of the day, and there's a Mewtwo. Would not have expected that, but that is really, really neat. Okay. Mewtwo. Obviously, that's pretty weak into Calyrex, so I think Calyrex is incredible for us here. Gotta watch out for Tailwind from Suicune. Celesteela is actually probably one of the Pokemon I'm most scared of, but I think we can utilize Entei to help out against it. So, for the lead, honestly, kind of like Whimsicott plus Lele. Like, Lele is just decent. If I lead it, though, I do have to be careful about leading it into Celesteela. You know what? I'm down for Whimsicott Entei here, I think. Obviously, I want Calyrex, but then, like, do I really not bring Lele and bring Ditto instead? I guess we don't really need Expanding Force too much in this matchup, right? We're going to be using Astral Barrage most of the time anyway. It's just that Lele is actually not bad offensively, but, I mean, how can we not bring Ditto? Let's just go 8 for 8 on Ditto with this team, on just bringing it into games. Urshifu is okay. But, yeah, okay. We'll see how this goes. I think the hope here is basically to match a Tailwind. What we don't want to do is allow my opponent to get a Tailwind up and us to not have Tailwind, because then their Mewtwo can really snowball and things can get out of control. And they're going to go Raichu Suicune. Okay, yeah, this is what I was kind of thinking they would go with. So the Entei is not really amazing for us here, but that's fine. With the Assault Vest, I'm not really that worried about Suicune. Like, we can just protect turn 1 with Whimsicott to avoid a Fake Out and just Stomping Tantrum into Raichu. Best case would be they try to snipe out Whimsicott with a Fake Out plus an Ice Beam. Can definitely see them Volt Switching with Raichu right now. And yes, our Calyrex Shadow Rider matches up really well into their Mewtwo, but that doesn't mean that the matchup is won by any means. We still have to execute properly. So against this lead, I mean, this lead specifically is why I wanted to go with Whimsicott Lele. I guess the downside is by leading Entei the way I did, I do have to be careful about losing this too quickly, because then the late game Celesteela can be scary. Although we do have Calyrex Shadow Rider, that's actually pretty good into Celesteela, so maybe I don't need to be that worried. Okay, pretty good damage from Stomping. They actually go for Icy Wind, that's fine by me. Yeah, it almost means I don't need to necessarily click Tailwind this next turn because I can stagger it by a turn once again. The main thing about clicking Tailwind with like setting up Tailwind in general is there are typically two things to consider. One, does it allow you to outspeed something immediately because of dynamic speed in Sword and Shield? Your partner or Pokemon will get the speed boost immediately, basically. If not, then if you're already faster, then there's not really that much upside. And then two, the other question to ask is your Whimsicott at risk of getting KO'd? We can just Extreme Speed Raichu here. I think that's enough for a knockout. And just Moonblast this Suicune. I am pretty down for that. And then I can Encore Suicune in subsequent turns. I guess my fear is if E-Speed actually doesn't KO the Raichu here. But yeah, Extreme Speed is one of the strongest priority attacks that you have in the game. Okay, we'll go for Moonblast here. I just don't, yeah, once again, I don't feel the need to set up Tailwind because we've had all the good luck today. Wow, geez. And they set up Tailwind, perfect. So because now the thing is I can just Encore your Suicune. Whatever comes in isn't going to one-shot Whimsicott because we have the Focus Sash. And then I can just set up Tailwind the subsequent turn, giving us 2 extra turns of Tailwind to work with relative to our opponent. And bring out Incineroar. Okay, that works for me. I guess with Incineroar now, you can potentially go for a Fake Out plus an attack. But with that special attack drop, like, I don't really have much to worry about. I'm totally content to just protect here. And go for a Stomping onto the Incineroar. You know, it's like my opponent set up Tailwind, but they're not really putting on any pressure with damage right now. So I still feel pretty good about our spot, even if they go Skull Parting Shot into Entei. And it's actually just Icy Wind. Incineroar did not click Fake Out, which is interesting. So it's like, you can drop my speed all you want, but like I don't really care because I'm not taking damage right now, which is obviously really good for us. And they Flare Blitz, perfect. They're just trying to snipe the Whimsicott away right now, which makes sense. This AV Entei is so critical to this team's success because it is just really nice into Incineroar, right? You can chip away at a lot with these Stomping Tantrums. Also, I had someone comment multiple times yesterday on why I wasn't clicking Encore onto Incineroar, and that's because Incineroar is Dark type, and so with Whimsicott having Prankster Encore, it doesn't work into Dark types, it will just fail. So sometimes it looks like a really good play when they click Fake Out, but you can't actually go for that. Anyway, they went for Flare Blitz plus Icy Wind. If Mewtwo's their last one, like, I think it's totally fine to just click Tailwind at this point and go for another Stomping Tantrum onto Incineroar. And then we can just bring out Calyrex and just Astral Barrage away. Oh, they actually just forfeit. Okay. I didn't think the game was over yet, but I guess like they just felt like they couldn't do enough. And unfortunately, that's the downside of Mewtwo. It's not the strongest restricted Pokemon, and being so weak into most of the most common restricted Pokemon in Zacian and the Calyrex Shadow Rider just makes its life a little bit more difficult. It doesn't even match up incredibly well into Kyogre or Xerneas either, right? So yeah, I think Mewtwo is probably just one of the toughest restricted Pokemon to pull off. we have seen some Mewtwo teams historically in VGC. One of my favorite teams, if not my favorite team of all time in VGC history, in 2010, Hui Ha got top 8 of the World Championships with like a Trick Room Mewtwo team. But back then, you have 2 restricted Pokemon. You could actually swap the items between your Pokemon between rounds as well. And so Hui had an Iron Ball like he would throw onto Mewtwo and his Kyogre respectively. And so like that was a really cool team for that format specifically, but I think doesn't work out obviously as well. Can't really pull something off like that in this format. So yeah, this is an incredible team, honestly. Like we won every game that we played on Road to Ranked with it. And so it was a really fun win streak. And I'm just really impressed by Ditto as well as the overall team composition. So I had a blast with it. And yeah, you know, I really learned a lot about playing with Ditto and how we could utilize it best. So thank you so much as always for watching. Thanks to Nosh for the team. Details are in the description below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.